Times are getting rough in these quarantines. People are getting violent. There was a shooting right behind my garage. They even left a shell behind. World's going crazy. Wimpy, wimpy. Hefty, hefty. Okay. Just doing a few things on this. Getting it ready to go in. I need to clean up and paint the oil pan because it's still green and, well, this is red, so it makes it look too Christmassy. You can see what I got for paint. I hope I can paint that the cast iron, just like the heads. I should have some somewhere. Another thing, this was in my 90 Chevy to start. Actually came out of a 90 Chevy when I got it. Put it in my 94 Chev. And then was in my 80 and then my crew cab. But I use an electric pump on those two. So this thing's had a block off plate this whole time. And this uses factory pump. I have a nice Holley Performance chrome one, but I don't know if a small block one works on here. And I don't know if the push rod is in here. So I gotta check that out first, and then hopefully it's in there. If not, I might have to go get my my electric pump and hook it up under this. Which I prefer not to. I like to keep this old school. And the pump's noisy, and I'd have to go get it and figure out fuel line and stuff. Anyways, this thing looks all clean in here, and it's got shaved ends on these, and they're all numbered. So this has been apart at some point. You can see it's got the dual rollerized chain. So it has been rebuilt at some point. How much and to what extent, I don't know. And how long ago, I don't know. I was planning to take this apart. I think I mentioned it in the previous video, but I want to get this thing driving. And I know this runs. Ran when pulled. Takes a few things to get it going, and boom. So, yeah, anyways, story with this thing, I bought it at a junkyard, actually. It came in a 91 extended cab, long box, 2-wheel drive Chevy, 3/4 ton I think it was. My brother phoned me up, said, hey, there's a snazzy small block in this thing, and it's only in for $700 in the system, so you might want to come down here. It came with those long tube headers. I think they're Hedmans. Came with an Edelbrock on the top, nothing special, whatever. And then all these other goodies inside. It just looked like junk. It had all the factory 94 stuff in it and blah blah blah. Came with this weigh-in intake, the 781 large oval heads. They're nice. And it's got a bumpy cam in it. I don't know anything about the cam. I've never had it apart, but it's It's a little more aggressive than mild, but it's not aggressive. I know it's kind of a medium cam, I guess. Um, Anyways, yeah, I'll post a picture of this thing, what it looked like when I got it. And the truck it went in. And then 6 months later, that truck had an electrical fire, and I found out the hard way that when you put this in a 90s and carburate it, the tranny doesn't like that and needs a standalone system, or it will run like 3 times the normal pressure, and it blew all the seals out. So I was leaking tranny fluid everywhere. Then I had electrical fire, so I ended up getting rid of the truck. Pulled this out, painted the lime green. Post a picture of that now. And put it in my 80. We haven't posted a lot of pictures in this video. Anyways, yeah, drove it like that for a couple of years. Pulled it out, put a small block in the 80 and sold it. And then my crew cab, it was a factory big block. It spun a bearing or something, had a nice knock. If I can find the video posted right now. Then put this in because that spun a bearing, and drove it a few times, but I didn't have a garage at the time, so the truck was my garage and had all my storage stuff in it. So I didn't really drive it. And finally got a garage. Tranny wasn't the greatest in that truck. It started crapping out. Pulled this out to make the crew cab 4-wheel drive, put a 4-wheel drive tranny, front diff, everything, but that plan didn't pan out. So then I painted this to go into the crew cab and ended up not, and put it in the corner. Plan to put it in the Beaumont, or the Pontiac. Oh yeah, this is a Pontiac. Plan to put it in the Parisian. You guys know the car. And then this came along, so it's going in this. And that's the story of this. The valve covers, I traded those for, I think, a CD deck. And yeah, traded them for a CD deck, polished them up. They're okay. They could use another polish. I've been touching them and they've been sitting in the corner. This one has some marks in it, but they're really old school. I originally planned to put those on a big block, put it in my dad's truck. Again, you guys know the one. He was very old school with all this stuff, so I thought he'd like that in his truck, but now they get to go in his car. So I guess first things first, I'll take this apart and see what happens. I'll probably take these truck motor mounts off. I think I can use those ones and just unbolt them. It's one of my concerns is different motor mounts for big block, small block. The trucks, for the most part, I know they're the same. One's like a little bit taller or something, or shorter, but they big block can bolt in the small block. So I'm hoping that's the same case here. If it sits a little higher, a little lower, whatever, I'm not too worried about it. Just as long as I can just kind of bolt it up to that power glide, bolt it in those frame rails, fire it up and go. Alright, I'm gonna get started now. Good news, bad news time. Good news is it fits. It's good. Bad news is there's no push rod in there. Good news though, after researching, turns out same one as a small block too. I love small block and big block Chevys. Almost everything fits. So when I pull this engine out, I will take the push rod out of that and I will put it in there. Perfect. good news, bad news time again. Got pin out, or push rod out from the small block. It looks good. Got the bolt out of here. I'm going to slide that in. Turns out this fuel pump uses different fittings than that fuel pump. So for now, I'm just going to use that fuel pump. Hopefully it works. And if not, then I can switch to this one and get different fittings later on, blah, blah, blah. But for now, I'm using this one. Or the other one. I'm not using this one. Yeah. There, no more green. Cast iron to match the heads. And I totally forgot. I believe this thing was blown up at some point. There's a whole bunch of protruding dents. Sounds that there was a pretty good catastrophic failure at some point in this thing. Which, kind of funny. Somebody obviously put a lot of money back in that thing to rebuild it, and they still used the same oil pan, which looks like they beat the hell out of it to get it straight again or something. I'm not sure. But it came with it and it done me good, so it's going back on there. Hood's off. Everything's undone. Got it to spin with a pry bar enough to get the torque converter bolts out. Was having trouble getting that header over, so just gonna pull that out. Can't remember if I've said that or not already. Just got the motor mount bolts holding in, no nuts on them. All the bell housing bolts are out. I think everything's disconnected. I'm gonna pull it out. But the more I've been working on this and the more I've been looking at that, especially now that the oil pan's on there, I don't know if that oil pan's gonna fit. So the more I work on it, the more nervous I get. But got the oil pan all painted up. Don't have a gasket set right now, so I used about 3 tubes of RTV and the old rubber gasket, so should be okay. Probably leak, whatever. But if that doesn't fit, I guess I'll just set it in there without an oil pan for now. Find the proper oil pan and headers, and then pull it back out, put all that in. Well, we'll try it, see what happens. Get this car shoved a little bit out of the garage and pull her out.